y'all, it's Ruby, and this is my grandma, and I'm entering the 50K scholarship grant, and I'm just to show y'all that I'm gonna tell y'all she inspired me the most. So introduce yourself.
I'm Grandma, and this is my lemon head.
Are you there? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so I just want to tell y'all a little bit about my history with my grandma. She's my favorite person in the world. What inspired me the most is when I was around 7 years old, my grandma used to prostitute.
No, you didn't! Janelle!
She used to have me okay, so when I was 7, so let me I get really emotional when I talk about it, because it's why would you do me like that? So when I was 7, yeah, she used to prostitute or whatever, and she used to watch me a lot, so I used to go with her. So I would be in the back. I would be in the back seat, and
she lied.
I'll be in the back seat, and she'll be in the front seat, and she'll just be performing oral in front of me.
Oh my God!
She would be performing oral in front of me, and she would be like, "Don't tell your mom, don't tell your mom." So
why are you lying?
I never told nobody this, but that inspired me the most, because the rent would be due in a few days, and we wouldn't have no money. So I would always say I'm never gonna prostitute. I'm never gonna prostitute. Or another time when I was I got older and I turned 13. I remember my 13th birthday. I walked in the room, and she was having sex with my teacher, with my teacher, my middle school teacher. And I'm like, "What you doing?" She told me, "This how we gonna get our bills paid. This how we gonna get our bills paid." So I don't, you got something to say?
Hell, she telling a damn lie.
Oh my God.
Oh, another fight. Look. Oh. Oh, Lord, they done fucked this girl up, boy. Oh, hold up. Damn nigga out here. What, they got 5? Oh, my fucking God. Girl shot, bro.
Have you seen my lady?
Oh, I ain't got my phone. Oh, they done shot this fucking girl, bro. Oh, my God, where they shot her at? Oh my fucking God. Y'all call 911. Call the ambulance.
Need towels.
Y'all get something. Y'all just watch that corner over there, man. Put pressure on her. Where's she bleeding from?
She dead. Look, she dead. Well, look, lady.
I don't know. Oh, another fight. Look. Oh. Oh, Lord, they done fucked this girl up, boy. Oh, hold up. Damn nigga out here. What, they got 5? Oh, my fucking God. Girl shot, bro.
Have you seen my lady?
Oh, I ain't got my phone. Oh, they done shot this fucking girl, bro.
They say time heals all wounds. But what do you say to 2 little boys who wake up one morning and never see their mother again? What do you tell a 5-year-old who keeps asking why mummy hasn't come home yet? Why she didn't tuck him in last night? What do you say when the woman who gave them life, who braided her client's hair while holding one baby on her hip, is now a memory? Because on a warm Friday afternoon in Orlando, Macayla Patterson, known to her friends and clients as Ruby Kior, was gunned down during a senseless brawl at an apartment complex. Shot in the head in broad daylight. And just like that, gone at 22. She wasn't just a hairstylist. She wasn't just another victim. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, an entrepreneur chasing her dream. And now she's a name on a police report. But not here. Here, we remember her the way she lived. Loud, bold, full of fire. A young black woman making a name for herself in a world that wasn't just a shooting. It was a warning shot echoing through a whole generation. Before she became Ruby Kior, before the camera filters, the ring lights, the blow dryers and brand deals, she was just Macayla Patterson, born in 2001 in Orlando, Florida. She was a summer baby, full of energy, full of life. And from early on, that energy could light up a room. She was raised on love. Her mother, who worked long hours but always made time to braid Macayla's hair just right for school. Her father, quiet but supportive, present in the background. Her grandmother, a strong spiritual woman named Sakarmal, was the matriarch of the family, the rock, and Ruby loved her deeply. She was the oldest of 4 siblings, the one who had to grow up fast, helping with homework, babysitting after school, walking her. But there was always something different about Macayla, something vivid. She didn't just play with dolls, she styled their hair. Didn't just watch cartoons, she studied the women's makeup, their fashion, their hair textures. Even in middle school, her notebooks weren't just filled with class notes. They were covered in sketches of hairstyles, product logos, salon designs. While other kids talked about becoming nurses or teachers, Macayla would say, "I'm going to do hair for the stars. Watch me." And she meant it. She grew up in one of Orlando's tougher neighborhoods, where ambition often gets buried under struggle, where young girls lose themselves before they find out who they really are. But not Macayla. She had fire, and her family saw it too. Her mum once told a neighbor, "That girl's going to do something special. She's got vision." School didn't come easy. She wasn't the top of her class, but she was the kind of kid who teachers remembered. Kind, outspoken, a little bossy, always the one braiding someone's hair in class. She started charging classmates by the time she was 14. $10 a head, 20 if you wanted something fancy. That was her hustle. And when she wasn't doing hair, she was taking care of her little siblings, cooking dinner, fighting to keep the lights on when times got rough. That strength, the kind you don't learn in books, came from her environment. From watching her mother stretch food stamps, from seeing her grandmother pray over bills. But behind that tough exterior was a girl with softness too. She loved romantic comedies. She loved writing captions on her Instagram, like, "One day this queen gon' have her castle." She had dreams, real dreams, and a plan. But nothing in her young life would shape her more than what happened next, becoming a mother. 2 beautiful boys, Messiah and Zion, born just a year apart. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, if you're feeling connected to this story so far, do something simple but powerful. Hit that like button. drop a heart emoji in the comments for Ruby. Let's make sure YouTube doesn't bury this story. We're keeping her memory alive, together. By the time she turned 17, Macayla wasn't just doing hair for friends anymore. She was known on the block. People were calling her that girl with the magic hands. Cornrows, box braids, silk presses, you name it. She could transform a head of hair like she was painting a canvas. And when she worked, it wasn't just styling, it was therapy. It was love. This was when she began using the name Kaher. It wasn't just a nickname, it was a persona, a vibe. The girl who was gonna make it. Ruby was bold, loud, beautiful. She had that it factor. She dressed like a star, talked like a boss, and carried herself like she already had 1 million followers, even if her bank account didn't reflect it yet. She launched a hair brand called Kyoko, posted tutorials on Instagram and TikTok, and she made it known. I don't just do hair, I build crowns. But behind the grind, behind the filters, real life was hitting hard. Because Ruby wasn't just hustling for herself anymore. At just 18, she had her first son, Messiah, and a year later came Zion. 2 boys, just 1 year apart. And now she was doing hair while holding a baby, mixing formula between braids, falling asleep sitting up, with her hand still holding a comb. But no matter how tired she got, those boys were her fuel. She used to post pictures of them with captions like, "They gave me purpose. My kings." She didn't have a nanny, didn't have a trust fund. What she had was ambition and 2 mouths to feed. She had complicated relationships with the fathers of her children. One was in and out of her life. The other stayed distant. But Ruby didn't let that stop her. She stepped into that role with full force, both mum and dad. She did hair to pay for diapers. She sold edge control and wigs from her bedroom. Sometimes she'd walk the boys in a stroller to appointments because she didn't have a car that week. This wasn't a hobby. This was survival. And she made it look effortless. But behind closed doors, there were days Ruby broke down in silence, cried in the shower, questioned whether the dream was still worth it. But she always got back up, always posted that next client, always smiled for the camera. Because Ruby Kior, she refused to let struggle define her. She used to say, "I want my kids to say, my mama ain't fold. She fought for us." And she did, right up until her very last breath. If you're a young mother chasing a dream while raising kids, if you've ever felt like the world was against you, let Ruby's story be your fire. Subscribe to this channel right now, not for clicks, but for women like her. Women who are doing everything they can to break generational curses. Drop before it boils over. Something had gone down earlier that week. An argument. Words exchanged. Some say it was about loyalty. Others say it was personal. We don't know the full story. But what we do know is that Ruby showed up to the Jernigan Gardens apartments on Mercy Drive that afternoon. She wasn't alone. She had called her brother. She had called her cousin. The vibe wasn't good. According to reports, a fight broke out around 2:34 p.m. Not just a scuffle. This was an all-out brawl. Multiple people shouting, screaming, pushing, and then gunfire. People scattered. Neighbors ran for cover. Children ducked behind cars. The energy shifted from loud to silent in seconds. And in the middle of the chaos, Ruby was hit, shot in the head. She collapsed to the ground. Witnesses say she never even saw it coming. Orlando police arrived quickly. Paramedics did what they could, but it was too late. Ruby Patterson, Ruby Kaur, was pronounced dead at Orlando Regional Medical Center. 3 others were injured in the melee, but they would survive. She wouldn't. She was just 22. And while police put up crime tape, and reporters circled like vultures, 2 little boys sat at home, still waiting for Mummy to come back through that door. Messiah and Zion had no idea their world had just collapsed. Let that sink in for a moment. If this story moves you even just a little, don't scroll, don't keep this to yourself. Hit the like button, share this video. Ruby's story could be anyone's story. A sister, a cousin, a best friend, a neighbor. Someone trying to make it out. And now, she's gone. Let's not let her memory vanish with the news cycle. We'll break down exactly who was arrested, who pulled the trigger, and what happened in the hours and days that followed. In the hours after, Orlando police were already putting the pieces together. This wasn't some random act of violence. It wasn't a drive-by. It was targeted. It was personal. And someone pulled the trigger. Witnesses had phones. There was surveillance footage. The internet exploded with rumors. Names started flying. And pretty soon, so did the warrants. The first arrest came just a few days later. Delray Shundale Duncan Jr., 23 years old, known in the area, tied to multiple witnesses at the scene. He wasn't the shooter, police say, but he was there. And what he did was enough to get him charged with first-degree felony murder and attempted first-degree murder for the others injured. He turned himself in and was booked into the Orange County Jail. No, he wasn't the only one. They were still looking for the man who fired the shot that killed Ruby. And it didn't take long. Less than 2 weeks later, another name hit the headlines. Gary Williams III, just 18 years old. Police say he pulled the trigger. He fired the shot that ended Ruby's life. He is the one who made 2 little boys orphans. He too was charged with first-degree murder. And like Duncan, held. Both men were tied to the fight. Both present. They weren't strangers. These weren't masked men from the shadows. These were people connected to the community, people Ruby had seen before. Some say she even knew one of them. This wasn't just murder. It was betrayal. And it left, as of now, the cases are still working through the Florida court system. Pre-trial motions. A community holding its breath, waiting for justice. But justice is complicated, especially when it comes from people who once called each other fam. Ruby's mother has barely spoken publicly. Her grandmother, Sekarmal Gaines, gave one interview where she said, "Those boys don't even understand yet. They still ask for her. They think she went away." Her uncle Mike added, "The beautiful people don't seem to last very long." And he's right. If you believe those boys deserve more, speak up now. Comment "Justice for Ruby." Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. We can't bring her back, but we can make sure she's not forgotten, not buried in paperwork, not lost in the noise. Because behind those charges and court dates is a family still grieving. 2 toddlers, still waiting for a hug that's never coming. Some losses you don't feel all at once. They creep in slow, piece by piece. A favourite hoodie still lying across the bed, her edge brush sitting by the bathroom sink, the lingering scent of hair product and baby lotion. It's been weeks since Macayla Ruby Patterson was laid to rest, but for her family, time hasn't moved forward. It's just stood still. Her mother hasn't spoken much. Most days, she just holds Ruby's youngest son, Zion, close and stares out the window. The grandmother, Sekarmal, has become the family's anchor. She's the one now explaining to 2 toddlers that Mommy isn't coming back. How do you say that to a 5-year-old? That his mother, his best friend, his protector, was taken by a bullet meant for nothing but pain? How do you explain death to someone who still asks if Mommy is just sleeping at the hospital? At Ruby's candlelight vigil, people showed up by the dozens. Friends, clients, neighbours, some who hadn't seen her in years, others who only knew her from Instagram. They lit candles, wore t-shirts with her face, held posters that read, "She had a gift. Justice for Ruby. Not one more." The community around Mercy Drive is no stranger to violence. Gunshots aren't new. Sirens are expected. But this felt different. Because Ruby wasn't a gang member. She wasn't living recklessly. She was working. She was trying to build a business, raise 2 boys, be more than her circumstances. And another friend added, "She gave me confidence when I had none. Now I got to explain to my daughter why her hairdresser is on the news, not TikTok." And the boys, Messiah and Zion, are now being raised by their grandmother. No mother, no father consistently in the picture. Just grief. They still have their moments. Zion reaches for Ruby's phone. Messiah points at photos and says, "That's my mummy. She's famous." He's not wrong, but fame can't fill the silence left behind. If you've made it this far into Ruby's story, please take one more step. Comment a heart for her boys. If you know the pain of losing someone to gun violence, say their name in the comments. Let this section of the internet be a wall of remembrance. And if you want more stories, not just report the crime, subscribe to this channel. Let's shift the narrative. Ruby's gone, but we can keep what she stood for alive. Long before she became a headline, Ruby was building something, not just a business, not just a name. She was building a future, a brand, a legacy, a vision. And she did it all with... We often wait until people die to start talking about how special they were. But Ruby, she was already special. People knew it. They felt it in the way she moved. There was something about her. Even when she was tired, even when she was hurting, she made everyone around her feel seen. But Ruby was already special. She had big plans, a physical salon in Orlando, a hair mentorship program for young girls, a YouTube channel teaching people how to do luxury installs at home, and maybe one day, hair for the stars. We'll never know just how far she could have gone, because someone pulled a trigger and stopped a dream mid-bloom. But here's what they couldn't kill: her impact. If Ruby ever inspired you, even through this story, say her name in the comments. Tag a friend who's chasing their dream, even when life hits hard. And if you believe in honoring people while they're gone, subscribe, share. Let's keep her memory alive, louder than the violence. Let's keep her memory alive, louder than the violence that took her. Ruby's gone. Her chair sits empty, her tools untouched. Her boys still too young to know what they've lost. But this story isn't over, because there's a family still picking up the pieces, and a community still demanding answers. Courthouse ambience, distant protest chants, justice for Ruby. Right now, both suspects, Delray Duncan Jr. and Gary Williams III, sit behind bars. No bond. Both facing first-degree murder and attempted murder charges. Prosecutors say they have enough to go to trial. But trials take time. And justice? It's not just about verdicts and sentencing. Justice is about what happens after the courtroom lights go dark. Slower pacing. The family Ruby left behind, her grandmother, her siblings, her cousins, they're raising Messiah and Zion now, on food stamps, in a crowded apartment, without Ruby's income, and most days, without answers. Sir Carmel Gaines, Ruby's grandmother, told a local reporter, "People say time heals, but that's a lie. Time just teaches you how to walk around with pain in your pocket." She keeps Ruby's photos by her bedside, reads her Instagram captions like scripture. She says the boys still ask to FaceTime their mama. They don't understand that phones don't work in heaven. Sound cue children playing faintly fade into silence. And in the community, the pain still lingers. The pain still lingers. Local organisers have called for more youth programmes, better conflict resolution, more security in housing projects like Jernigan Gardens, where too many lives get lost in the margins. Because this isn't just about Ruby. This is about how quickly a black girl's name fades once the camera crews pack up. How easily the world forgets, moves on. But not here. Here, we don't move on. Narrator, slow, deliberate tone. We move forward. Because Ruby's story needs to mean something. For every girl chasing her dream. For every mum doing hair on her porch just to feed her babies. For every child whose bedtime story is a framed picture and a whisper of memory. Call to action, final emotional push. This is the moment where you choose. Don't let comment her name. Share her story. Say it out loud. Justice for Ruby Kior. If you feel this pain in your chest, if you want to be part of something bigger, subscribe. Be the voice that keeps her name alive. Because silence kills too. And Ruby? She didn't deserve silence. She deserved time. She deserved success. She deserved to walk into her own salon one day, keys in hand, babies in tow, and say, "We made it." Her name was Macayla Patterson. But to the world, she was known as Ruby Kior, a young mother, an artist with her hands, a dreamer with unmatched drive, a daughter, a sister, a friend, a flame that burned bright and far too fast. And now, a symbol,